Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I have some breaking news coming out here for you. So we're going to be talking about Ukraine and also Senator Ted Cruz here in this video. Okay, and I'm going to show you the actual clip here in just a moment. But he's speaking here in Congress, and during his speech, he says, we have an obligation to help Ukraine. Why do we have an obligation? Why does the U.S. have an obligation? Well, based on the Budapest Memorandum of 1994, the USA has an obligation to help militarily if their territorial integrity is violated. So this Budapest Memorandum of 1994 was signed by 5 separate countries: Ukraine, Russia, United Kingdom, Northern Ireland, and the United States of America. And it was a memorandum on security assurances in connection with Ukraine's accession to the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, signed on December 5th, 1994. Now, I know that sounds like a mouthful, so I'm going to show you the actual clip here from Senator Ted Cruz here. He explains this very well, why it's important that the U.S. has this obligation to go help Ukraine and why we should step in right now and give them the lethal aid that they need to fight this war. So let's take a look at this and we'll talk about it right after.
We have a formal obligation, a commitment the United States made to help the Ukrainians defend themselves. Why is that? Well, after Ukraine successfully declared independence from the USSR in 1991, the United States signed an agreement called the Budapest Memorandum on Security Assistance. The Budapest Memorandum, under the terms of it, Ukraine agreed to give up its nuclear weapons. Ukraine had the 3rd largest stockpile of nuclear weapons on the face of the planet. America agreed quite reasonably the world would be safer if Ukraine did not have nukes. And the brand new Ukrainian government agreed and gave up their nuclear weapons, making America safer and the world safer. But the Ukrainian government did not do so for nothing. It did so in exchange for explicit assurances that the United States would protect Ukraine's territorial integrity. Let me reiterate that. The United States made a formal commitment to the Ukrainians that if they gave up their nuclear weapons, we would help them protect themselves. And the Ukrainians are asking us to honor our commitment in the form, and they're very specific what they're asking, in the form of immediate sanctions on Nord Stream 2 and weapons so they can defend themselves. We need to send them that lethal aid, the kind of firepower the Ukrainians need to defend themselves, not the blankets and teddy bears and meals that the Obama administration sent the last time Russia invaded Ukraine.
Okay, so I just wanted to show you that video so you can get a good idea of what this memorandum is all about. So again, it's for security assurances for Ukraine, for them giving up their nuclear weapons and giving them over to Russia so they can decommission them and basically make the world a safer place, was kind of the idea, right? So I also want to show you the actual memorandum, and I'm also going to link this down below. If you want to look at it yourself, you can go and read through this. We won't read the entire thing, but I just wanted to show you this here. So again, these are the 5 countries that are involved. So yeah, Memorandum on Security Assurances in connection with Ukraine's accession to the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, signed in Budapest, December 5th, 1994. There's 2 paragraphs here that I wanted to show you. It says, confirm the following. The first one says, the Russian Federation, the United Kingdom of Great Britain, and Northern Ireland and the United States of America reaffirm their commitment to Ukraine in accordance with the principles of the CSCE Final Act to respect the independence and sovereignty and the existing borders of Ukraine. Russia signed this. Okay, they were supposed to respect the independence and sovereignty and the existing borders of Ukraine. And by invading Ukraine in 2014, they violated this agreement. Okay, and then also here, the Russian Federation The United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland and the United States of America reaffirmed their obligation to refrain from the threat or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of Ukraine, and that none of their weapons will ever be used against Ukraine except in self-defense or otherwise in accordance with the Charter of the United Nations. So also these countries, including Russia, agreed to not use force against the territorial integrity or political independence of Ukraine. But it does say here, except in self-defense. So Russia has talked a lot about that, saying that like, oh, if Ukraine becomes part of NATO, this is a threat to us. So could they claim that this is self-defense? I don't know. I'm not really the person to answer that. But I just wanted to point that out there, that it does say except in self-defense. So again, I will link this down below and you guys can read through this all you want. It's also in multiple languages here as well. So I thought that was very interesting reading that. And so technically, would Russia be violating this agreement? Let me know down below. Share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. So we're going to move on to this right now. I have an article here too that really explains this perfectly, in my opinion. So this is on The Conversation. Ukraine war, what is the Budapest Memorandum and why has Russia's invasion torn it up? In other words, why are countries not committing to this memorandum when it was clearly signed by multiple countries? So this picture says, don't forget the Budapest Memorandum, USA, keep your word. Okay, so let's read this, just a few paragraphs here. The unfolding invasion of Ukraine will have far-reaching repercussions that extend way beyond a breach of international law and a violation of the country's territorial integrity. As American international relations expert David Yoss notes, Russia's actions will weaken the credibility of major power security assurances, undermine the nuclear non-proliferation regime, and dampen prospects for future disarmament. Putin's decision to invade is in direct violation of the Budapest Memorandum, a key instrument assuring Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The memorandum was struck in 1994 following lengthy and complicated negotiations involving the then Russian President Boris Yeltsin, Ukrainian President Leonid Kuchma, U.S. President Bill Clinton, and the then British Prime Minister John Major. Under the terms of the memorandum, Ukraine agreed to relinquish its nuclear arsenal, the world's third largest, inherited from the collapsed Soviet Union, and transfer all nuclear warheads to Russia for decommissioning. This enabled Ukraine to join the Non-Proliferation Treaty, or NPT, as a non-nuclear state. So they joined the NPT, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, in return for security assurances. So the NPT is a legally binding instrument that recognizes only 5 countries as legitimate holders of nuclear weapons: China, France, Russia, the UK, and the US. All other countries are banned from developing a nuclear arsenal, and those that have, including India, Pakistan, Israel, and North Korea, are not parties to the NPT. In exchange for giving up its nuclear arsenal, Ukraine initially sought legally binding guarantees from the US that it would intervene should Ukraine's sovereignty be breached, but when it became clear that the US was not willing to go that far, Ukraine agreed to somewhat weaker, but nevertheless significant, politically binding security assurances to respect its independence and sovereignty, which guaranteed its existing borders. China and France subsequently extended similar assurances to Ukraine, but did not sign the Budapest Memorandum. The Budapest Memorandum consists of a series of political assurances whereby the signatory states commit to respect the independence and sovereignty of the existing borders of Ukraine, but the meaning of the security assurances was deliberately left ambiguous. According to a former U.S. diplomat who participated in the talks, Stephen Pfeiffer, it was understood that if there was a violation, there would be a response incumbent on the U.S. and the U.K. And while that response was not explicitly defined, Pfeiffer notes that there is an obligation on the United States that flows from the Budapest Memorandum to provide assistance to Ukraine, and that it would include lethal military assistance. So it did state here the meaning of security assurances was deliberately left ambiguous. So did they do that on purpose so that way these countries would, in a way, not really have to come to their aid? It seems like that could have been the thing here. But it does say security assurances, and it says to respect territorial integrity of Ukraine. Okay, so that's pretty big to me, and that just goes to show here that, at least in my opinion, the U.S. and all these countries that are involved here, including Russia, but Russia is obviously the aggressor here. They're the ones attacking Ukraine at the moment. But the rest of these countries should be coming to their aid and providing them some sort of assistance. I mean, yes, many countries have come out and provide them weapons, and the U.S. has already done that. And I'm not saying that no one has done that. But should they continue to do that, especially while they're being attacked and continually being attacked? Yes, I think they probably should, according to this memorandum here. But what this shows is that these kind of memorandums, if these are ever created in the future, they may not hold as much value as maybe they did when this was first created, right? Because if these countries do not commit to these types of memorandums that they sign, that creates a big problem now, because like it was mentioning there in the article too, that there may be more countries that may not want to join the NPT, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, okay? That they may not want to join this if these kinds of memorandums are not going to be held to account whenever the time comes, right? So I just wanted to share this with you, and let me know what you think about this, because it's very, very interesting that Senator Ted Cruz is bringing this up, and there's lots of talk about this now, that the U.S. should be stepping up and coming to the aid of Ukraine here, especially considering that this memorandum was signed. So share your thoughts and concerns and opinions down in the comment section. If you got something out of this video, please smash the like button. And also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, I hope you all have a great day. Thanks so much for tuning in for this update. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.